On a personal point of view, what would you say has been the kind of most important technological developments in your particular area in the last couple of years?
I would say it is around virtualisation and the simplifying of general IT tasks. If you look at a lot of products today, the idea is to make them a lot simpler to use, whether it's Tintri or other modern devices. You only have to look at things like your smartphone. You know, no one talks about the flash inside your smartphone. Nobody waves your phone around saying, this is some fantastic flash I have in here. Everybody's really looking at the applications that are on the screen, how simple it is to use. Do you actually need a manual to use your device? And it's the same with Tintri. You know, Tintri is a very simple device to use, but very, very sophisticated inside. And I think that's a trend across IT. And as you see, as we develop, a lot of these mundane skills are being simplified out by the use of very clever software. And I think if you look at, you know, students coming out of university today, they don't want to be changing tapes, right? Or running around a data center doing these sort of tasks. These guys have been working on much more sophisticated issues in IT. And I think that's just a general sort of maturing of the industry, and as we raise the bar and automate as much as possible.
Now, excuse me, what are your thoughts about the cloud and how it's going to develop going forwards?
I think it's more of the same, in that I think it will become a natural part of what we do. I think what we're seeing from our customers is they're also making sure that they're checking in the right type of data into the cloud, because these are a bit like a hotel. It's very easy to check stuff in and check data in, but you want to make sure you can check the data out. So that's why we're seeing the hybrid as becoming the biggest components of that, so people can decide what they check in and what they check out. And as I said, for Tintri, it's becoming a huge part of our business. And fortunately, because we're a new file system, so Tintri, when we devised the product a few years ago, we built a file system for the ground up just for virtualization. And it means we can adopt ourselves very quickly to something like hybrid cloud.
Not so much for the last year or two, but previously, because of things like Connecting for Health, which was obviously a major IT project, which was going to be right across nationwide for the NHS. Unfortunately, there was problems. And of course that gave a lot of IT companies and IT departments a bit of a bad rep, you know, with getting projects wrong. Yeah. And a lot of the time, you know, IT departments do unfairly get criticised, even though the mistakes aren't there solely. I mean, what are your thoughts about you know, project management, and why it's had such a bad press, particularly with the IT departments in years gone by? Yeah,
it's always the one or two that we hear about that haven't worked out well. But you know, if I look across our business, we're dealing with IT projects. Tintri's typically a component of those products, being the storage part of that project. And you know, on a daily basis, you know, these projects are going well. There's a very high success rate in the industry across the board, and it's only the one or two that you hear about that really, unfortunately, get the press. No one talks about a great, well-run IT project, and obviously that's the vast majority of projects. And I would say back to you know, where we were talking earlier, the more you can reduce any possible errors by automating some of the basic tasks, the less chance of error there are. But some of these projects are huge projects. The majority of projects are smaller projects. They're not, you know, they're not radical projects. They are upgrading or enhancing what a customer's got in their data center, and those projects go very, very well. These are well-trodden paths of storage, servers, networking, whatever it might be. So I would say there's always going to be a headline, but if you look at the vast majority of projects across the board, the reason that there's so many of them is they run very, very well.
going to say, so from your own involvement with IT projects, do you have any bits of advice you could share with our members?
Just from what we see is there's people obviously wanting to get a lot more from what they've got, and looking at smart new approaches, and we're seeing lots of evolution through there. So people may actually look at a particular solution, but just for a component of the data center. You know, we deal with very large corporates that run Tintri as their tier 1 storage. They're used to dealing with very large vendors, and now they're looking at Tintri to be their tier 1 provider. So what we're seeing with us and many other projects is not these huge rip in and rip out type philosophy. We're seeing components being purchased to do a particular task very well. So you have whereby maybe a few years ago in the IT industry there was a one size fits all, and you try and get one perhaps huge machine that would do everything for you. I think there's an acceptance now that it's horses for courses in the data center. Put in a particular application and server to do a particularly good task. So buy the best of breed for each area and put those components in. And I think if you look at how data centers are changing with cloud and hybrid cloud, but also keeping in-house certain things that make sense to keep in-house, then customers are very much buying a particular Lego brick to do that task and then plug in another one here, and that's how you build in a very highly efficient automated data center that you know will give them the best possible solution for what they want to do for their business.
From what you've said so far, it seems like there's more a move away from one size fits all to more bespoke projects. Would you say that's right?
Yes.
How you deal with your own problems or issues?
Yeah, and I think if you look at the history of the IT industry, we've gone from the client server, we've gone from the mainframe before that, where we're going to have one big machine that does everything, and we're going to have a highly sophisticated technicians that need to know a lot about everything, which is a difficult thing to maintain. And if you look at the trends in computing, we've now gone to a state where you can build a best of breed for each issue you're trying to solve, which will be a ground up product built for that particular task. And we've seen that in lots of different areas, and that's why I think there's a lot of smaller companies coming along that have brought innovation to the IT industry, not just going to one of the big guys and trying to get everything from them. You want to actually get a bespoke answer that will, for that particular smaller project that you're trying to solve, and then that will grow organically as time goes on. So it's just the waves we see in the IT industry, and we're at the stage now where it is best of breed.
Mentioning small companies, and you've worked in a few startups. Looking at things from a general perspective, do you think the UK is quite good for entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship and startups? Do you think it's quite a good environment?
I think it really is. I work across Europe, and there's some great examples of that across Europe. But if you look at IT companies, they come to the UK first. We still have a good relationship with the US. There's lots of parallels. We like innovation here. It's a large market. We're open to new technology. So someone who's come from a large company, Tintri is becoming a larger company and is growing very, very well. But it's always great when we're dealing with very large corporates who want to base their IT infrastructure on the best breed. So I think the environment the UK provides, and if you look at some of the type of industries we've got here and the innovation we're driving, even if you look at some of the universities now, if you want to go on a course for, say, product design, the British universities are moving very rapidly to change their courses to keep up with the industry. Whereby if you go to some of the other places around the world, it could take a university 5+ years to change their course for, say, product design. Whereby in the UK, the universities are much more open to changing those courses quicker, so that when students come out, they're prepared for the modern world and are able to get the appropriate job that they want to pursue as a career.